Growing up, I always believed that family was the one thing you could count on. My two older brothers and I shared everything from childhood secrets to dreams about the future. When Derek, my eldest brother, announced his engagement to Amanda, our whole family felt like we were stepping into a new chapter of happiness. I had no idea that chapter would end in betrayal, and the one who would tear everything apart was not a stranger. It was someone who shared our blood, our memories, our home. Before I begin this story, let me know where you are watching from today. Do you have siblings? If this story resonates with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Today I am going to share something that changed my family forever and taught me that the universe always finds a way to balance the scales. My name is Louis, and I am the youngest of 3 brothers. We grew up in a modest house in the suburbs of Denver, Colorado, where the mountains watched over us like silent guardians. Our parents, Thomas and Linda, owned a small bakery downtown. They woke up at 4 every morning to knead dough and bake bread, and they came home smelling like flour and sugar. That bakery put food on our table and sent all 3 of us to college. It was built on love, sacrifice, and the belief that family always comes first. Derek was the eldest, 7 years older than me. He was the kind of brother every younger sibling looks up to. When kids at school picked on me, Derek was there. When I failed my first math test, Derek sat with me for hours until I understood every problem. He became an orthopedic surgeon and nobody was surprised. Derek had always been destined for greatness. He was disciplined, kind, and carried the weight of being the firstborn with grace. Then there was Marcus, the middle child. He was 3 years younger than Derek and 3 years older than me. Marcus was smart, charming, and always knew how to work a room. He went into real estate sales and did well for himself. But underneath that confident exterior, I always sensed something else. A quiet resentment that surfaced in small comments and sideways glances. He once told me when we were alone that Derek always got everything handed to him, that people just assumed Derek was better without giving Marcus a fair chance. I dismissed it as normal sibling rivalry. I wish I had paid closer attention. Derek met Amanda at Denver General Hospital, where he had just started his residency. She was a new nurse on the orthopedic floor, and according to Derek, she lit up every room she walked into. Amanda had this gentle way about her, a warmth that made patients feel safe and colleagues feel appreciated. Derek fell hard and fast. Within 6 months, they were inseparable. Within a year, he was saving every extra dollar for an engagement ring. I remember the night Derek showed me the ring. It was a modest diamond, nothing extravagant, but Derek had worked double shifts for months to afford it. His hands trembled as he opened the box. He looked at me and said that Amanda was the one he wanted to spend his life with. The way he talked about her, it was like she was his entire universe. I had never seen my brother so vulnerable, so hopeful, so completely in love. The proposal happened on a Saturday evening at our parents' house. Derek got down on one knee in the backyard, surrounded by fairy lights that Mom had helped him hang. Amanda cried. Mom cried. Even Dad wiped his eyes when he thought nobody was looking. It was perfect. For one beautiful moment, our family felt complete. The engagement party followed 2 weeks later. Relatives flew in from across the country. The bakery provided a 3-tier cake that Mom had designed herself. Everyone raised their glasses to Derek and Amanda, to love, to family, to forever. I remember looking around the room, feeling grateful. And then I noticed Marcus. He was smiling, sure, but something about his expression felt hollow. His eyes did not match his mouth. When he hugged Derek to congratulate him, it lasted a beat too long, and when he pulled away, his jaw was tight. I told myself I was imagining things. Marcus was probably just tired from traveling. But a small seed of unease planted itself in my chest that night. The wedding was planned for June, 6 months away. Amanda dove into preparations with the enthusiasm of someone who had dreamed of this moment her whole life. Derek was busy with surgeries and patient care, so he could not always be there for venue visits and cake tastings. But he trusted his family to help. He asked both Marcus and me to be his groomsmen. Standing beside him on the most important day of his life, he said, nothing would make him happier. Those months leading up to the wedding should have been filled with nothing but joy. And on the surface they were. But underneath, something was shifting, something I could not yet name. The first sign came about 3 months before the wedding. Derek had been pulling extra shifts at the hospital, sometimes working 36 hours straight. Amanda needed help with wedding errands, and Marcus volunteered. At first it seemed thoughtful. Marcus offered to drive Amanda to the florist to meet with the caterer to pick up fabric samples for the bridesmaids' dresses. He said it was the least he could do for his brother. But the frequency bothered me. Every other day it seemed like Marcus and Amanda had somewhere to be together. When I mentioned it casually to Derek, he just laughed. He told me Marcus was finally stepping up, finally being a team player. He was grateful, he said. He did not have to worry about Amanda handling everything alone. I wanted to believe that. I really did. One Sunday we all gathered at our parents' house for dinner. It was a tradition, something Mom insisted on despite everyone's busy schedules. Derek arrived late, still in his scrubs, exhausted but happy to see everyone. Amanda and Marcus had arrived together, and when I walked in, they were in the kitchen laughing at something on Marcus's phone. Amanda had her hand on his arm. It lingered there a moment too long. I froze in the doorway. They did not see me at first. When Amanda finally looked up, something flickered across her face. Surprise, maybe. Or guilt. She pulled her hand away quickly and greeted me with a bright smile that felt slightly forced. During dinner, I watched them. I could not help it. The way Marcus leaned in when Amanda spoke, the way she touched her hair when he made a joke. The private glances exchanged when they thought nobody was paying attention. My stomach churned, but I had no proof. Just a feeling. And feelings I told myself could be wrong. 2 weeks later, I got my proof. We were at Marcus's apartment watching a football game. He got up to grab more drinks from the kitchen, leaving his phone on the coffee table. It buzzed, and buzzed again. I glanced down without thinking, and the notification preview stopped my heart. Miss you already. Counting the hours. The message was from a contact saved only as a letter. The letter A. Marcus returned before I could process what I had seen. He grabbed his phone quickly, almost too quickly, and shoved it in his pocket. Did I need anything, he asked. His voice was casual, but his eyes were sharp. I shook my head and said I was fine. But I was not fine. I was far from fine. For days I wrestled with what to do. Confront Marcus, tell Derek, stay silent and hope I was wrong. The weight of it pressed on my chest like a physical burden. I barely slept. I could not eat. Every time I saw my brothers together, I wanted to scream. Finally, I decided to talk to Marcus. Just the two of us. I chose a neutral location, a coffee shop downtown, and tried to keep my voice calm. I asked him if everything was okay, if there was anything he wanted to tell me. His response was immediate and defensive. He asked what I was talking about. Why was I acting so paranoid? I pressed further, mentioning that he had been spending a lot of time with Amanda, that I had noticed things. His face hardened. He accused me of always taking Derek's side, of assuming the worst about him. He said he was just helping out because Derek was too busy to be there for his own fiancé. If anything, I should be thanking him. I left that conversation more confused than ever. Maybe I was paranoid. Maybe I was projecting my own insecurities onto innocent interactions. Marcus was my brother. He would never do something so unforgivable. But I could not shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The night before the wedding, we had the rehearsal dinner at a restaurant downtown. 200 guests were expected at the ceremony the next day. The energy in the room was electric, everyone laughing and toasting and celebrating the love between Derek and Amanda. Derek stood up to give a speech. He thanked everyone for being there, for supporting them, for believing in their love. He looked at Amanda with such adoration that it made my chest ache. He said she was his best friend, his partner, his future. Tomorrow he would finally get to call her his wife. I wanted to feel happy. I tried to feel happy. But my eyes kept drifting to Marcus, who sat 2 seats away from Amanda. They were not looking at each other. They were being careful. Too careful. Midway through dinner, Amanda excused herself to use the restroom. A few minutes later, Marcus stood up and said he needed some air. Something cold settled in my gut. I waited 30 seconds. Then I followed. The hallway behind the private dining room led to a back exit. The lighting was dim and it took a moment for my eyes to adjust. But when they did, I saw them. Marcus and Amanda, pressed against the wall, his hands in her hair, her arms around his neck. Kissing like the world was ending. I could not move. I could not breathe. My own brother's fiancé. My own brother. My hands were shaking when I pulled out my phone. I do not know why I took the picture. Instinct, maybe. Evidence. Proof that I was not crazy, that my suspicions had been right all along. The click of the camera was barely audible over the blood pounding in my ears. They did not notice me. They were too wrapped up in each other. I walked back to the table on legs that felt like they belonged to someone else. I sat down. I smiled when someone made a joke. I raised my glass when someone proposed another toast. And inside I was screaming. That night I did not sleep at all. I stared at the ceiling, the photo burning a hole in my phone, in my conscience, in my heart. Tomorrow was my brother's wedding day. Tomorrow was supposed to be the happiest day of his life. How could I destroy that? How could I not? The morning of the wedding arrived wrapped in sunshine and the scent of fresh flowers. The venue was a beautiful garden estate outside the city, decorated with white roses and silk ribbons. Guests were already arriving, dressed in their finest, chattering excitedly about the ceremony. I found Derek in the groom's suite, standing in front of a mirror, adjusting his tie. He looked handsome, happy.